Hello, everybody. Welcome back. The topic of today is why do Ukrainian and Russian women do not believe in the myths of being strong? If you live in the West, you know how often there are forums and women are posting pictures on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, on how strong they are, how badass they are, how they are achieving things, and how they don't need a man. And it's all about the strengths and how they're proud of being strong. While Ukrainian women have a totally different opinion on that. And what defines a strong woman is also greatly differ from what the feminist agenda in the Western world showing to everyone and trying to convince everybody that that is true. So, what is being strong for Ukrainian women? Are Ukrainian women weak? Do they want to be dependent and submissive? Do they have issues in taking care of themselves? Are they struggling and that's why they want to not to be strong? So let's talk about all of this today. Number one, I want you to ask yourself a question. Are those so called strong women truly happy? I'm talking about mostly Western women, but really any women, females who have to take on a men's role, who have to compete in a men's environment, who maybe having a career path, having maybe developing a bigger business or in this constant competing environment. From your experience, how many women you know that are in that circle, in that vicious circle, how many of them are truly deeply happy? And while you're thinking about this, I'm gonna share with you what Ukrainian, Slavic, Russian, and other feminine women in the world consider strengths and why they do not strive to be strong, why they do not want to be strong, and if they have a choice, that would be the last thing on their list. In classic Slavic culture, women's vulnerability, their softness, their character, their flexibility, their gift of adjusting to the circumstance, their emotional state of being vulnerable, considered strengths. Once again, their emotional state of allowing themselves being vulnerable considered strengths, especially when it comes being vulnerable when they are in a relationship with a man, their husband is their leader, and their strengths is to step away and let him lead, let him carry the heavy bags, let him take decisions, let him provide for the family, let him have that masculine place of power in a relationship. A lot of Western women in Western world in this mentality would strongly oppose that and would fight and try to prove that this is wrong. But what's wrong to Ukrainian women is that when you are becoming a control freak that trying to compete with the man, then doing things in his life inspired by you, for you, and all he wants is a genuine appreciation, encouragement, and love. It's very hard to get love from a woman that is consistently trying to prove something and consistently trying to take on the masculine leading role. True love, passion, all these wonderful things between men and women, no matter what nationality you are always based on polarity. Where there is polarity, there is attraction, connection, and complementary relationship. So being vulnerable and being quote unquote weak is considered strength in Slavic culture. Ukrainian women, just like women around the world, can handle everything in this life on their own. But they choose not to. They choose to have a place for a man to be a man, to take pride in being a man, and to feel great about himself. Women who believe that their strength is in achieving unachievable, pursuing um, ambitious goals over creating loving relationships in the family. Very often, these women meet a lot of disappointment later on. Just simply because these are not not the features, not the qualities, not the characteristics that we were born with. Our strength is to connect, to nurture, to create, to unite, to comfort, to understand, to support, to give love and affection, and to inspire. That is our strengths, or our features, our strong features that normally men do not have as much as we do, and they come naturally. I always, when I would pay attention to social media posts and the way people express themselves, I always wonder, what are they trying to prove? I have some people who are in the fitness and they always put jokes about men that can you lift as much as I can you make as much as I can? And I would always wonder, if you're happy with that inside of you, why do you have to post it, and why do you have to try to compete and win and prove something? If you're happy with that, why does that have to be public? Why are you trying to convince somebody that those things really mean a lot to you, unlike love, trust, and connection? A lot of women had given in the midst of, oh, we can do things like men, better than men, and hey, we're just gonna go on this journey and we'll have this ride, and let's see who wins in the end. We know that we are the best, and it's always make me smile, because truly masculine men already consider female's power superior to theirs without any need to compete or prove it, just because of the impact that feminine women bring to a man, to a truly masculine man. And that balance have been off for a long time in our society. Especially, I live in US right now, but I'm from Ukraine. I know the Russian Ukrainian households and the way the roles were shared between people and couples, and there is nothing like a person that following their true instincts, their genuine desires. Don't get me wrong, women can be warriors, women can fight, women can do a lot of things, but smart women let their man help. They chose not to do that. I'll never forget how in 2008 I was in the airport. That was my first travel to United States from Ukraine, and the flight was through New York. And I had two bags that were literally taller than me, and it was extremely hard to run around, try to find your terminal. And it was first time, couldn't understand the New York accent, and it felt so big and cold and crowded and uncomfortable. And all these years later, I want to thank to those wonderful men that had not asked me a question, that had not doubted whether I needed help, would just pick up my bags and carry them to the next stop. That was such a great experience to feel that somebody's looking over you, somebody is willing to help, somebody understands that it's only natural to give a hand and support a woman who is obviously not even supposed to be strong. So that experience taught me a lot. But even more when I shared that with a friend of mine here in US. A few years later, I had a friend. It was a beautiful young girl. We were just a few years apart, and she was a very talented and gifted girl. Uh, Yet she truly and deeply believed in feminism, and how we have to compete, and we are strong and getting stronger. So without any thoughts, without any doubts, I just shared with her how lucky I was that during my travel in this crowded, overwhelmed, multicultural, big mess of a JFK airport, there were men that would not ask me a question but would just help me to get through with those huge, humongous bags to reduce my pain and stress. And her reaction was my first introduction to the world of feminism and being strong. And nothing else felt more fake to me than this. And she said, "Oh my gosh, didn't you get offended on that? I would be so offended if somebody would just grab my bags and carry them. It means that they consider themselves stronger." And I thought to myself, well, they are stronger. I mean, what are we talking about? They're supposed to be stronger. It was so shocking to me that I told the story to my husband at the time, and he kind of gave me an idea and explanation how all of that works. But I've never forgotten my reaction to that, and I could never understand why I should not allow somebody who is willing to help, who sees me struggling. I'm not a bodybuilder, thank God, carrying those heavy bags. And also, when the airport workers would see that men were helping me in carrying those bags, I remember one woman in particular, she was screaming at that guy and scolding him for doing that, and asking him whether he knows me. Why in the world he's helping you? Well, that's not what she said, but the idea was that. And so I'm here to share with you that this nonsense is what making women depressed, overweight, unattractive, not interested in exploring romance, not feeling for romance, not ever craving intimacy anymore, and not willing to enjoy their feminine energy in your presence. How many women do you know that go to work and fight and compete and have stressful job like that, and they sit and they send you messages with suggestive ideas of how you will spend the night or how you will spend a romantic weekend? Not very many, especially if you have children, because that so-called strength, it's really stress, turns to stress, and that turns into actually um, some chemistry lesson here. It's called cortisol, and this is the hormones of stress that women build up, and usually it shows up around their waist. You know how sometimes female body starting to look like man's body because the waist disappears. And I'm talking, not really talking about the weight issue, but that's called the cortisol effect. And that thing is the pill, basically the pill your body creates, or medicine that your body creates because of the stress. And guess what that pill does? That pill completely kills sexual desire with these strong women, or in their system, physically and emotionally. And I can attest to that. It's very true. Sometimes when you go through difficult times, when you have to be masculine to survive, when you have to do those things, and all of us are capable, all of us females are capable of making things happen and push through. But that is the result. When you build that in your body, you not crave being intimate. You do not just the thought of that makes you want to run away and shut the door. And why is this happening? It's happening because of a huge imbalance of masculine and feminine in female's body. When masculine takes over, the feminine gets suppressed more, and more and more. And before you know it, you might not see another lady wearing a dress and smiling and flirting and and being in her presence, in her feminine, ever again. So I'm just sharing with you these thoughts because, as you guys know, I went through a very tragic, unexpected loss, and the word I've heard over and over and over again, that you are strong, you will be strong, you are strong, be strong. And I totally understand that people who had wished me that or tried to make me a compliment, I totally understand that their intentions were pure. Their intentions were full of love and support. But one thing that they did not know, that the last thing that we want is being strong. And this video is about our version of being strong. If you love a woman, do not encourage her to be strong. Be strong for her. Thank you.